afternoon and Assalamu alaikum. We have exactly 13 minutes to tear through some of the most important and interesting topics today. So a big boo to the program director for giving us so little time, but we'll try. So everybody knows David Siegel for your work in the financial industry. You run Two Sigma, one of the most successful and biggest hedge funds in the world. But less known is the fact that you studied, you got a PhD at MIT. You studied AI before AI was known as AI. So that makes you a clever dude in addition to being a wealthy dude. So you know what you're talking about. So I want to start off by asking you, with all this AI, some people have said that the progress of AI has stalled as such. Do you agree? And is there too much myth in AI?
Well, I don't agree with that. I think we're in perhaps the most exciting moment for the field ever, and that the progress that we've seen over the last several years is likely to continue, but not necessarily in the ways that people expect. There was a really very typical technological cycle that has occurred. Some people call it an S-curve, where you have a relatively slow build-up, and then as a technology gets perfected, you have a rapid increase in its capabilities, and then people start to run out of tricks with the initial set of ideas, and it slows down. People refer to that as an S-curve. The initial successes, for example, in large language models, have been going on for a long time. It's not, some people think it just came out of thin air, but it's been a build-up for more than a decade, probably 2 decades. And today, we've been seeing this rapid increase. Now, without new innovation, we're going to end up plateauing, but so much money is being invested in the field today that it's very likely that there will be more innovation, perhaps not in expected ways. So I believe that this increase in capability will continue for quite a long time.
Right. Marwan, you do your work studying about AI. Is there too much myth in AI? How much of it is just advances in computing, and how much of it is actual artificial intelligence?
Yeah, I think as of today, the biggest progress has been in the scaling of it. And like David was saying, the amount of compute that was just thrown away on that made that all the algorithms that we had built already in the 90s, because a lot of the algorithms that we're using today are mostly built in the 90s. There's been very few progress in terms of innovation, but it's the scaling and the fact that it's massively deployed around the world. So in terms of might, I wouldn't say no, because of course LLMs are used on a daily manner. People are seeing it and how it works. And so of course the progress is there. What's more interesting is what's going to come next. And what's going to come next is of course all these AI agents that we're seeing, and a lot of potential also in coming into more sophisticated algorithms at this stage where progress is needed, just because of the energy consumption that we're seeing with these big, I would say, data centers that we're building. So in terms of might, no, it's continuing. Of course, the scaling made all the algorithms and techniques that we have built, and we were discussing just previously with David, around basically the fact that people who are doing optimization had built already a lot of the algorithms that we're doing today, and it's going on. And of course, the fact that it's the common use has made it, of course, so successful.
Right, but sorry.
Yeah, I was going to add one point, which is there, to your question, there's the raw advances in AI may not be what we care about most in this room. What we really care about is the applications of the technology that we currently have. And the technology has advanced so quickly that even without any great breakthroughs in the field, the impact that what we have on business will continue to grow as people figure out how best to deploy it.
Right. So regardless of whether it's myth or reality, the fact is that it is a buzzword. Everybody is embracing it. Everybody is jumping on it. So the question now is, for governments that are pursuing AI strategies, what should they be watching out for? Should every government with the resources be pursuing their own LLM?
Well, one thing that the governments should watch out for is over-regulation. I think that there's been a lot of talk about AI being extremely dangerous and this is related to concern that AGI is coming and superintelligence is coming, and then this technology could somehow have a very dark side and be very harmful to society, which is leading to the thinking that lots of regulation will be needed to protect ourselves from it. I am fearful that this line of thinking could actually end up holding the field back. And so I think really my number one worry would be people being too worried about the technology.
Yeah, I think, of course, each country should have a national strategy on AI. And I think this is mandatory, just like we had a few years ago, national strategies on digitalization. Because before coming to AI, you need already to have a digital infrastructure. Now, what happens is not every country should have a foundational model built, and that would not make sense. I think there's going to be consolidation of the market because of the amount of money that is required to build these super great foundational models, which are now above $200, $300 million each. The one of Elon Musk, XAI, we still don't know. Grok 3 may happen around $1 billion to build. That gives you a bit of the amount. So not all the countries have this capability. However, at the national level, there should be a good understanding of how you equip with yourself with this open source, closed source models. And here in the UAE, we've been playing a very important role in being an open source hub and helping and supporting these different countries, because on the national strategies front of a lot of countries in Africa, you will start building your LLM based on some open source one and trying to tweak them in the right manner, and understanding also, as David was saying, the verticals where you're using it.
Right.
The verticals are not the same in each country. Some are more energy-oriented, others are agriculture, and that understanding is very important.
Right. So the first principle is to get a strategy, get your head right about what you want to do with AI before you start deciding whether you want to invest in it. What about investors? Now, if investors in this room are all presented with a business plan, business model, one way or the other, what should they watch out for?
I think the most important thing to watch out for is exaggeration of capabilities. The advances that we've seen today are quite remarkable, but they also have limitations. Everyone is aware of, for large language models, hallucinations, imperfect results. But I think even more concerning to me is that people are, in a way, I divide AI into two categories: the generative AI, which is like ChatGPT, and the predictive AI, which is like AI being used to forecast the weather. Predictive AI is something that people need to recognize can be confusing. Many things that we think we can predict are actually not really predictable to begin with. And if it's not predictable, AI won't help you predict it. And so what I see occurring in many industries and verticals are, frankly, people trying to predict things that are inherently unpredictable. AI isn't going to help you with that.
What about startups?
Yeah.
There are a lot of startups right now involved in various forms of AI, and you mentioned earlier on that a consolidation is probably going to come in the industry. When that happens, what should they do?
Yeah, so coming back already to your question where you should invest, I think you should invest in liquid cooling companies because the amount of data centers which are being built, I think the stock market will raise quite rapidly for liquid cooling companies, because that's what you need. But I mean, that's a side effect if you want to invest. Now, in terms of startups, I think exactly when you start investing, you need to be sure that the teams that you're having are not just tech-oriented, but they also have a good understanding of the verticals where they're applying it. Because a lot of these companies are coming with solutions, and then they want to change basically the way doctors work, other places work, and they end up, there's a misalignment in terms of the technology and the changes. And in the startup front, you're not going to wait like 10 years before your technology gets in. You need to have a very good understanding of how it applies. Let me just give you an example. All these tools in AI are not 100% accurate. There's hallucination. So if you start saying, I'm going to replace all procurement in companies, well, when you go talking to the procurement guys, they tell you, look, well, it takes me a bit of time to check the documents generated by your Gen AI, and checking your documents with just this 200 pages takes me more time than writing it myself, because we're so efficient. And so there's a lack of understanding of application because you start building a business plan saying, I'm going to replace. At the end, it doesn't work like that. So make sure that the people you have a very good understanding of the verticals where they're working in the startup.
Right. Okay. We don't have very much time left, so I'm going to play a quick game with you. I'll give you a few questions. Give me yes or no, true or false, bullet points. Okay? First question. Some internet has splintered. Some people have argued. Will AI splinter?
Yes.
It's not. Yeah.
Yes or no? The answer is yes. Would you like more? Just yes.
Yeah. Yes. Same
Okay. Next question. Can AI achieve reasoning, chain of thought, and self-awareness?
To some extent, it already has. Yes.
Yes, definitely. There's Qwen, DeepSeek have shown already some capabilities, but then you need to define a bit what you mean by reasoning. But at least at the level that a kid could see it, I think yes.
Okay. What is the biggest misperception today about AI?
That AI is actually thinking. It is not.
It is just computing.
It's no one actually knows exactly what it's doing. That is very interesting little problem.
I think the black box approach, meaning the fact that we don't understand the kind of results it's giving, and the fact that it's very probabilistic, meaning that if you interact, you get one result, another person which interacts with the same question, get another result. So I think this is a bit of a risk for a lot of people. Second risk that I see also is the fear related to losing your job.
Is AI thinking?
Is AI?
Is AI thinking?
No.
What is your go-to AI tool every day?
I use the various large language models instead of using search engines.
I use Falcon because I'm very proud of it here in the UAE, but also Perplexity as a tool.
Right.
Yeah.
AI is making its presence felt in education. What should universities and educational institutions do to guard against this?
Education should embrace AI. It should allow students to use it and should incorporate AI tools into all aspects of teaching. I think that pushing back against it will just create lost educational opportunities.
I think they have to build, and that's what we've been doing at Khalifa already, trying to build AI tutor platforms because tutorship is very important and AI is very linked to that. Second, what they have to watch is rethink how they do their curriculum by making people who are more what I call problem makers than problem solvers. Because if you use these tools, you realize that all the results you get are based on the quality of your question. The quality of your question gives you the quality of your answer when you use an LLM.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for playing. We are right out of time. So thank you for being a great panel.